Hello, I'm Magdelyn Kuluwah and welcome to the first episode of Women's World this year. A new year brings in new resolutions, new goals and new perspectives on current challenges. Many people aspire for a positive change in their life. And for many women, a positive change includes economic empowerment, especially for their families. What is economic empowerment and how important is it for you this year? We looked at some prominent groups in PNG and find out.
For me, economic empowerment is the ability of women to build their capacity to be able to supply for themselves, like especially for their livelihoods, looking after themselves and their families. Not only that, but in terms of economic activity, there's sort of two tiers. So economic activity, as in businesses. So a lot of our women talk from my experience that a lot of our women are engaged in informal sector business. And so it's also about them providing for their families, for their education, for their health, etc. And the other tier is looking at education to economically empower our women, because a lot of these things, you can't do one without the other. So it's really important that at the basic level, we're also educating our young women and girls and also being able to provide opportunities for them. So even if they haven't been able to, find employment or start a business because they haven't been educated, there are other means and ways of providing that skills upgrade or training for them.
Economic empowerment to me is the ability to achieve your dreams and aspirations. It's really about based on your own talents, your credentials, your qualifications, and also considering your hard work and dedication as well. For women, it's extremely important from the Business Coalition Women perspective, and it's one that we're working hard with our businesses to encourage that empowerment of women in business.
I also find that in terms of like businesses, informal businesses that women run, there's a lot of challenges that they face. So it's also about access to finance. So resources, what resources are available to them. At the basic, 80% of our women own rural economies. So some of the barriers is, how do they go and find information? So it's also access to knowledge and services. A lot of them don't have business education, or they're not educated to the level where they're able to fill out forms, etc., if they need to expand, especially if they're in businesses. There's also access to markets, physical distance from where they live to actually access the market. It might take some time. There's also access to networks. They don't have the networks that usually companies or businesses or that are run by men have. Their networks are a lot smaller, so how do you tap into that and help them so that they can, if it's to grow their business, even if it's like professional networks, women that are working that need access to networks. We find that even though we have networks, it's not necessarily the right networks that we can connect to that will move us into the next position, or find a mentor or a sponsor to sponsor us into sort of areas that will make a difference, as in decision makers, because that's where you can actually improve in terms of the economic empowerment of women to be able to sponsor or mentor someone into that role.
Globally, we find through studies that women spend almost even more than 90% of their income on their family and on their family budgets. So from that perspective, Papua New Guinea and women in Papua New Guinea are no different. It's extremely important to women in Papua New Guinea. And I think businesses today also recognise the importance of the economic empowerment of women, particularly whether it be in their own businesses, their employees, how they can build their staff to become more empowered in leadership within the organisation, and also as consumers and within their supply chains as well.
In a society where men are seen to be dominant and they own assets, you have, for example, a husband and a wife. the property, the vehicle, the land, whatever is registered under the man's. And so the man has owned the assets. So under Women in Business, we try to assist women who can come in and apply with the Women in Business to access funds to do that kind of business, income generating activities that they want to do. And we mentor them, we help them to start up their business. NDB is supporting efforts to expand women entrepreneurship opportunities. Women can come into NDB and ask for financial assistance under our Women in Business loans. We have 2 loan packages. We have the startup package where they can apply for funding under 5,000, from 5,000 Kina upwards. And so that's the startup from 5,000 to 100. Then we have the grower package where they can apply for 100,000 and upwards.
My name is Des Yaninen. I am the Chief Executive Officer for NDB Investments, a subsidiary of the National Development Bank, and we primarily focus on entrepreneurial development. Basically, mipla woklumdalo halpi moliglikol business ikama big pla. All mama lo PNG especially, important lo go inside the business. Mainly because not all the time, but sample time, mipla papa, mipla no saw look out in money good. Plenty time mipla work money, money no saw come up la house. Mipla work him kind something na money paul about na bien fortnight come na mipla like simili money na mipla gyama na mipla make him chorus inside the house na. Awesome na you may look him was violence, domestic violence is come up. Mama ikisim pen, mama no got money lo buy him kaya la house, beginning ni hangere kanus. So all get a house, but because this like and passing is stuff, plenty of email papa lo PNG so make him slack and passing. Now family suffer. Because the family suffers as a result of this, it is very important lo you put him money go inside lo pocket lo, especially mama, so that all he can hold him money and look out in house. So that is why me make him plenty of illegal activities lo strong him all mama go inside lo business, at least only got lick toil or look out in family.
In our next episode, we share some tips with you on how to boost yourself financially. For now, don't go away. When we return, we show you a powerful female paving her way in the construction industry. Welcome back to Women's World. Working in the construction industry can be very labor-intensive for men and women. But for one lady, she shows us how it's done. Meet Magdelyn Kuluwah.
I am Magdelyn Kuluwah and I am an estimator, and I've been working with associated builders and contractors for more than 7 years. The thing that I like best about my job is because I anticipate or I forecast the project from the inception to the completion. I thought it was better if I took on a role which was different to a normal person, because I come from a society where male was dominated more. So I thought, why not? I could be the same level as the male. I could make the same decision as the male. Why not? So it lured me to taking up a career where I could do that, and I could show the woman in my village or in my society that, women can do something better, and it is equal, and we could make same decision and equal decision as male. So that was why it lured me to do building and construction. I went to Unitec in Leh and I studied building and construction, and then I joined the workforce, and then I worked for a few years, and I thought it was better if I enhance my skills and knowledge in what I am doing now. So I found a course related to that in Australia. So I applied for it, and I went down and I did a Master's in Science Project Management at Curtin University. And then when I completed that, I returned to the workforce, and I'm currently working with associated builders. And that studying has really broadened my knowledge and skills of being in this field, and it has really helped me to see the broader picture of what it's like in the construction field. My first experience on the job or in a construction industry was very discriminating. My work colleagues were mostly male, so it was really very hard to adapt to them, which I found it so difficult. However, now they have accepted me more as being a colleague to them and as being a team member, that we all have to make decisions together. My job involved firstly getting the requirements from the client. So either they come in here or I go out to visit them, and they tell me about their problem. Either they want a new building project, or they want me to fix the existing building that I have or something like that. So I sit around with them and we discuss, and they tell me all the requirements, and then I set up a scope with those requirements, so it becomes a scope of works, and then I bring it back to them after I've set up the scope, and I tell them, this is what you want. I said, right, can you confirm? And then after they confirm, they ask me to prepare a likely budget or a likely cost that it will cost to do that work for them. So I return, I sit down and I come up with a likely costing or the budget of, this is how much it would cost you to carry out this work. So I give to them, and then as soon as they approve, then we go through the process of execution, which first we tender out the job, and then in tendering we ask the contractors or interested contractors to bid for the job. So when they bid for the job, we evaluate all the contractors, and then we award a contract to a contractor where we feel is confident and is capable of handling and carrying out the job, so that the client can receive what he wants in the end. So during that process, and we do that, and then after that, when it comes to signing the contract, we get in the client and the contractor, they sign a deal in executing the project, building project for this amount, for this period of time. And then that's when the actual construction begins, when you see all these machines and cranes and all the material procurement and all this coming in to do the job. And then when that is in the process, we also go in with the client and the contractor, and we still discuss so many issues that may affect the project being delivered. And then that is done all through the construction period till in the end when the project is completed and then it's been delivered to the client. I'm more associated with my work, and I kind of I'm married to my work. So I'm workaholic than anything else. I think about work every day, and I'm so associated with my work than my family life. So my work is full of planning, a lot of imagination, a lot of anticipating. So I am more into that than my family. And sometimes I work from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock, till 7, 8 in the night, till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just to get the job done and ready for submission the next day. That's when I'm working in the office. And when I'm working on the construction site, I leave for the construction site as far as 6 o'clock, and I can work till 10 o'clock in the night, and then I return home. The advice that I will give young girls who are intending to take up a career in a field that's dominated by men, it's a very challenging role that you will take on board. It's very challenging. Most often, your male counterparts will not accept decisions that you will table out to them. It's very, very difficult. So that's my advice to young women, that you have to be prepared for the worst.
If you want to share a story of an amazing woman you know, send us a message on our Facebook page. Search Women's World. Women's World News up next. To find out all the latest with us, stay tuned. You're watching Women's World, and now for global and national news. Women achieving milestones around the world and in PNG. In Saudi Arabia, women have cast their first votes in the country's history in a municipal election. Women were also standing as candidates, another first, despite the conservative kingdom being the only nation where women are not allowed to drive. Female candidates have had to speak behind a partition while campaigning or be represented by a man. About 130,000 women registered to vote, officials said, compared to male voter registration of 1.35 million. At least 14 women won municipal council seats. In Spain, they also held a general election in which the most female MPs in the country's history were elected. Now, women make up 39.4% of Spain's lower parliament, 138 seats total. Spain's equality laws disallow either gender from making up 60% of the electoral lists, meaning women must make up at least 40% of the lists of candidates put forth by parties in an election cycle. A notable elected figure is Rita Posajo of Alicante, Spain's first ever black MP. The 50-year-old was born in Equatorial Guinea, a former Spanish colony in West Africa. In Taiwan, with her landslide election win, Tsai Ing-wen became the first woman to be elected president of Taiwan and is deemed to be the most powerful woman in the Chinese-speaking world. Tsai vowed to put domestic concerns as one of her main priorities and to strengthen Taiwan's economy for all the 23 million population by diversifying trade with South, Southeast, and East Asia. Congratulations to Tsai, the first female leader of an Asian democracy. And in nearby Pacific neighboring country, the Marshall Islands Parliament has elected a new president, Dr. Hilda Hine, the first female leader of any independent Pacific Island nation. Dr. Hine is the first Marshallese citizen to obtain a doctorate and is just one of 3 women in Parliament. And on national women's news, high-profile Papua New Guinean female in higher education, Professor Cecilia Nembo has achieved a milestone by becoming the first woman to be a president and vice-chancellor of a university in PNG. Dr. Ruth Turia is the new chairperson of EGILAT, experts group on illegal logging and associated trade of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC. This is for the period 2016 to 2017. EGILAT was set up in 2011 as APEC ministers responsible for trade directed APEC officials to establish an experts group to promote trade in legally harvested forest products, combat illegal logging and associated trade, and build capacity. PNG Women in Business founder Janet Sapper has left for India on the weekend. The Indian High Commissioner to PNG said the trip is important because of what PNG can learn from India's industries and economy, and especially how the people in SMEs are supported by the government. Janet will join other representatives of other Pacific Island nations who will be going on the same trip. Pacific Islands Forum Secretary and Papua New Guinean General Dame Meg Taylor has been appointed by UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon to the Every Woman, Every Child High-Level Advisory Group. The High-Level Advisory Group will provide advice to the UN Secretary General and regularly report on progress, key challenges, and make recommendations on important issues, including accountability, financing, and implementation of the Every Woman, Every Child initiative and the recently launched Global Strategy for Women's, Children's, and Adolescents' Health.
In 2000, the world set 8 goals for the new millennium. Numbers 4, 5, and 6 focus directly on improving the health and saving the lives of women and children. Dramatic progress has been made. 6.4 million fewer children died in 2013 than did in 1990, and maternal deaths have been cut by almost half. Even that is not enough, and by 2010, alarm bells started ringing. The world needed to do more. With the UN Secretary General's leadership, global health leaders developed a global strategy to accelerate progress on the MDGs and improve the health and well-being of women and children. We have successfully brought together all the groups working in this area. The global strategy has helped to mobilize resources, focused attention, and brought people together to build a global movement. 300 organizations have made 400 specific commitments to help. They include UN, governments, businesses, civil society, foundations, and academics. Each one contributes to improvement in the health of women and children. Since 2010, 2.4 million lives have been saved. Because significant progress has been made in the 49 poorest countries, coverage of oral rehydration therapy has increased by 49%. Exclusive breastfeeding has increased by 44%. 11 million additional women gave birth in a health facility. 8.4 million more women and girls use modern contraception. 67% of HIV-positive pregnant women received antiretroviral medicines in 2013, up from 48%. Important initiatives have emerged. A Promise Renewed, Family Planning 2020, the Every Newborn Action Plan, UN Commission on Life-Saving Commodities. Accountability, innovation, and partnership are core pillars of the strategy. Around 1,000 innovative technologies for reproductive, maternal, and child health are now in the research and development pipeline, representing $255 million in investments. Momentum has grown steadily in the past 5 years, and funding from international donors has increased significantly. More than $34 billion has been dispersed. We need to build on this momentum. Today, we have an unprecedented opportunity. Within a generation, we can end completely the preventable deaths of women, newborns, children, and adolescents in all parts of the world. To do this, we need more financial resources, including innovative financing, focus on priority areas, adolescent and newborn health and stillbirths, food and nutrition, water and sanitation, and work in conflict zones and fragile states. Ensuring the ability of women and girls to live long, healthy, productive lives is an ambitious goal, inspired in part by the historic advances that have been made in recent years. Together in partnership, we can build a healthier future for women and children and end the scourge of preventable deaths.
Don't forget, the 2016 PNG Women's Forum is gearing up to take place from the 1st to 3rd March. See our Facebook page for contact details. That's it from us tonight. It has been a pleasure. Join us on our Facebook page for daily updates or message us with news in your world. Until next time, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your viewing on your #1 to watch, EMTV.